Several years ago, I was at a convention, and in some downtime in the day before it started, my friend and I were hanging out in the room watching the TV. Nothing too interesting was on, so we ultimately landed on Cartoon Network during a marathon of the Amazing World of Gumball. So we decided to give it a shot. At that point, I had never seen anything on the show other than some clips shared online. What surprised us, and especially me, was how entertained and into the show we were. All in all, we spent the next 2 hours enthralled with Gumball. From the writing to the animation, there was a lot to instantly like. But it wasn't until recently, over the past couple years, where, with how the world has been, did I finally say, alright, it's time for me to give the show a shot. So that's what I did, over time making my way through the TV series. Today, I want to talk about the show, what it was, what happened to it, and what's to come from it, and my thoughts on it in general. So welcome back, or hello, for the first time to the 25 Days of Fringemas, where I cover something interesting, nostalgic, or holiday related every day from the 1st of December to the 25th, in order to find that holiday spirit I lost nearly a decade ago. So if you want to be a part of this daily journey and help me find my good old jolly joy, subscribe and come aboard. The Amazing World of Gumball was a Cartoon Network original TV series that aired for 6 seasons running between May 3rd, 2011 and June 24th, 2019. Gumball's world was strange and unique, made of contrasting animation styles and mediums living, working, and going to school together, where the bizarre was always possible, as long as it was permitted under the rules of cartoon logic. The combination of traditional 2D animation overlaid with stop motion, CGI, puppetry, and various other animation mediums gave Gumball's world the feel of several different cartoon realities cohabitating with each other. Gumball Watterson is the protagonist of the series who lives with his family in the fictional town of Elmore, California. Gumball is an occasionally mischievous but largely well-meaning 2D animated cat, who more often than not gets himself into trouble through his naivety rather than through any actual malice on his part. While this naivety does make Gumball periodically come across as airheaded or obtuse, he is shown to be capable of complex logical thought and sarcasm in many bizarre situations. Gumball's best friend is his 10-year-old adopted brother Darwin, an orange fish who, prior to the series, through the power of brotherly love, gained the ability to talk and sprouted legs and naturally started wearing sneakers. Darwin is kind and has a tendency towards being extremely gullible due to having only recently joined the world as a fully sentient being, because he was a pet goldfish. Despite his newness to the world, Darwin is shown to have high emotional intelligence, picking up on interpersonal relationships or the niche feelings of those around him that other characters often miss. Making up the rest of the Watterson family is his mother, Nicole Watterson, who, much like her son, is a 2D blue cat. Nicole has a workaholic personality and a short temper. She shows several times in the series that she is a great martial artist who will do whatever she must for her family, a facet of her that is best shown by her being the main breadwinner of the family. Then there is Gumball and Darwin's father, Richard Watterson, a slovenly chubby pink bunny who, despite wearing a tie all the time, never seems to go to work. While sweet and well-meaning, Richard is lazy, slow, and gluttonous, spending his happiest moments eating on the couch while watching TV. The final Watterson is Anais, a pink bunny like her father and Gumball and Darwin's little sister. At 4 years old, Anais already has the intelligence that greatly surpasses her brother and is fully capable of manipulating those around her to get what she wants. Because of her great intelligence, she also attends Elmore Junior High despite her age, but Anais still has her childish moments in spite of her intelligence, having tantrums and loving all things cute.
Coming up next,
The Amazing World of Gumball
on Cartoon Network.
Most of Gumball revolves around the shenanigans the two brothers get into around town, especially while they're at school. These shenanigans can range anywhere from running from the school's T-Rex bully to trying to play it cool in front of Gumball's crush Penny. Penny is a shape-shifting, yellow-orange glowing creature who contains her shifting form within a hollowed-out peanut shell with antlers. Gumball was created by Ben Bucklet, a French-British animator who began to work at Cartoon Network's London studio in 2007. Bucklet began his career in animation at Studio AKA, a London-based animation studio that specializes in producing commercials and short films. After working at Studio AKA for a while, Bucklet decided to quit, at which point a co-worker encouraged him to apply to the recently created Cartoon Network Europe-based development studio. In his new position, Bucklet assisted people in pitching their ideas to the network, helping these ideas develop into full shows. After a bit of time, Cartoon Network started to encourage its employees to pitch its own ideas for shows, at which point Bucklet Bucklet decided to use all he had been learning to make his own pitch. That pitch would eventually become to be The Amazing World of Gumball. Bucklet based several of the characters in Gumball after rejected characters he had originally created for commercials at Studio AKA, which helped inspire the original concept for the show. And Bucklet's first pitch for the series, the show was about rejected cartoon characters attending a remedial school. When the network executives decided that they liked the overall idea of it but felt it was just a bit too sad, Bucklet tweaked it, giving it a cheerier feel in a traditional sitcom setup. This version of the show is what eventually was greenlit. Bucklet decided to name Gumball's family the Wattersons, after Calvin and Hobbes author Bill Watterson. He also decided to name the individual members of the Watterson family after his very own family, with Nicole, Richard, and Anais being the names of his mother, father, and sister. Gumball knows, at its essence, that it's a cartoon, and it plays with the fact by referencing the breaks and laws of nature and physics that cartoons are prone to. One example of this is that Gumball and Darwin never age past a certain point, reflecting how cartoon children, they just never grow up. Unless we're talking about the Rugrats that grew up that one time, but now they're babies again, so that's confusing. A lot of Gumball's humor and freshness comes not just from its self-awareness as a cartoon, but also in its tendencies to reflect aspects of the real world in a humorous and honest way, making allusions to things like mental illness, internet culture, marriage, and the human condition. And that's only a fraction of how long this list can go. The show features a rotating cast of antagonists, when the antagonist even exists at all and isn't just Gumball and Darwin's momentary bouts of idiocy. A reoccurring problem does present itself in the third season in a concept known as the Void. The Void is introduced as a micro-dimension inside of Elmore, where all of the universe's mistakes are hidden away in order to not break the rules of Gumball's cartoon reality. Heavily tied to the Void is Rob, a background character who escapes from the Void after having been banished there when reality deemed him irrelevant. After escaping, Rob becomes Gumball's main antagonist in the series, hating Gumball for being the protagonist. Rob is aware of his fictional existence and the world outside of Gumball, something that becomes very apparent in the show's final episode. In the final episode, Elmer High's superintendent, a live-action human, just shows up at school, determined to fix all its freaks of nature. Slowly, he turns all the cartoonishly strange students into animated humans, versus what they originally were, which is things like a potato, a robot, a balloon with a face on it, and so on, with his full intent to eventually make them fully live action. Gumball and Darwin managed to stop him by reminding their classmates on their cartoon nature, but before celebrating and being returned to their original states can begin, it is revealed that the superintendent was Rob the entire time. In a panic, Rob reveals that he was just trying to save the students of Elmore High by making them real, which would, one can assume, allow them to exist in our reality. As this explanation is made, the Void, which has been steadily growing throughout the season, reaches Elmore High, ending with a freeze frame of Rob falling into the Void as it just sits there before heading to the credits, inferring that some terrible things are about to happen. Yeah, a pretty weird way to end things, but I guess that makes sense for such a weird show.
Later, The Amazing World of Gumball.
Later, a new The Amazing World of Gumball.
Since the show's cliffhanger ending, Gumball creator Ben Bucklet has promised he would create a film to wrap everything up. On February 17, 2021, this film, titled The Amazing World of Gumball the Movie, was officially announced by HBO and Cartoon Network. Two miniseries released following the series' end, a 6-episode series in 2019 called Darwin's Yearbook, and The Gumball Chronicles in 2020. Overall, this show really surprised me as to what a modern-day cable cartoon can be. It's easy to neglect what's out there when you can easily default to the classics you grew up with and how much they mean to you. I do like giving things a shot though, and I'm glad I did here. I never thought a show like this could be on TV today, well, technically a few years ago. It would sometimes touch on some rather important and timely real-world issues in a way that was both serious and funny, with jokes that almost seem catered to an older generation. Literally, there's a whole bit about the Golden Girls that sent me. I was dying from the laughter and all the references that they were throwing in constantly. The show successfully towed that line of bringing kids and adults into the same property with similar levels of enjoyment. I mean, I can speak for hours about how unique the animation is with how it's blended aesthetic and even real-world backgrounds and humans, like what is this, a family of upside-down chins? It's bizarre, but in all the right ways. One 11-minute segment of this show can put so much of everything into it that it blows my mind how many segments there are overall. Even stuff that would seem dangerous to portray in a kid's program programming today was something that this show got away with. I was genuinely in shock with the majority of what I watched. It was so tightly packed in with jokes, relatability, all in one. It's meant to activate all these senses to a point where you can really lose yourself in these small, crazy adventures. Cartoon Network really knocked it out of the park with this series, and it's not hard to see why it was a hit from the jump. I really adore Cartoon Network sometimes in cases like this where they let the imagination run free from its creators, allowing that imagination to fully show itself on all levels through the visuals, the writing, and the direction. It reminds me of stuff like The Marvelous Misadventures of Flapjack, a show that I'm covering here soon on the channel, where the creativity of that show became a main feature draw for its appeal. I never would have guessed this show was what it actually was. Nothing before I gave it a shot pulled me in and convinced me that it was worth my time. I personally apologize to myself for holding me back from giving this show the time of day back when it was on the air. I am forever fascinated with it, and it has become a staple of what I turn on in the background while I work, or as I fall asleep, or something to bring me some joy when I need a place to escape to for a bit. And for that, The Amazing World of Gumball has blown me away and why it was not what I thought it was in the first place. I still don't know what I think it is, but what I do know is that I have found something that I can connect to in more recent times that I can consider now a modern day classic cartoon. But what about you? What are your thoughts on The Amazing World of Gumball? Let me know in the comments. If you were like me, kind of brushing off this show and thinks it looks a little bit too weird for you to try, I highly recommend you do give it a try. You may just find your next favorite show. Thanks so much for hanging out with me today. Make sure to hit the like button and subscribe for more content like this. Follow me on Twitter. Or else, I'll see you tomorrow with another video for my next day of Fringemas. Check out the playlist to keep up with the month, but until then, later.